I'll call the February 23rd, 2022 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:30. We have one item to speak in public, and then we're going to go into non-public. I received a email from a woman sending us the amended Senate Bill 249, and also a letter asking this board if we want to join a group of other towns who would like to send a letter saying that that they disagree with Senate Bill 242. It takes away the town's ability to decide where short-term rentals can go through zoning in their town, and felt that it took the town's right. And I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to speak to it and see what we felt, whether we wanted to join it or not. So who wants to be brave enough, or do you want me to keep on going? I would like to send a letter, and I'd like to send a letter because I think we as a town should have the right. At this point, we haven't chosen to do anything, but at some point, if we decide we want to have the short-term rentals not in a certain area, that we have the right to do it. And I think it's called local control. And then I come and look at, and I got an email from John McDonnell, you got House Bill 1570, in which they're going to cut the rate which they pay towns for mileage, and we'll lose $50,000 to $60,000. So, and then I think, well, they also shifted down to us all the retirement costs. So we're getting all this shifted down to us for either added expenses, or they're not going to give us as much money, and then they're going to tell us that we can't do anything to control where short-term rental housing can go. And that's my problem. And I'll send it down to Brad.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you, Linda. We've had discussions, concerns about the House bill at the planning board level and stuff. And I agree. I think we need to be able to have the ability to make our own controls, our own ordinances, and how we want to govern the short-term rentals here, to be dictated by the state, to be lumped in with something that might not fit our community, just doesn't seem right to me. I think we prefer to have our control over our own town and how it's done, how it's addressed, what areas are going to be allowed or not allowed in, and what rules and regulations they would have to follow. So I agree. A lot of stuff's kind of hard to really decipher with some of the legal stuff in there and everything. It's not straightforward English in a lot of this. So I'm not really sure if I didn't really understand this amendment. Is this something new that just came up to give us a little more?
The amendment was a change. I think that they added the ability to regulate some parking and noise and safety and health and sanitation, and I think that was what got in before. There was not even that, from what I remember from reading the two.
But that still doesn't allow us to determine what zones or areas they're in or out of. So yeah, so I agree. I think we should send a letter to join that group there and to say no to this House bill and bring the control, leave the control in the towns is where it belongs.
Okay, thank you. Do I have to call on people, or do people want to kind of step forward? Okay, Luke?
I mean, I think, Wolfeboro has kind of been ahead of this in a lot of ways because, we've had people on a committee that have looked into this and have been talking about it for the entire summer. And, ultimately, we live in a resort town, so it's going to definitely be an issue and a topic that we need to address probably going forward in the future, in either direction. And ultimately, the most control you could possibly have is local control. So we're the ones that are going to be dealing with it. Therefore, I feel that, like you said, Linda, this is something that falls in our purview, and we want to hold on to, we're the best stewards of Wolfeboro, so and our residents, rely upon us to make the choices for them. That's why we're elected, so, I agree with you.
So there is a second amendment to this. This is not complete.
This is the amendment I was sent just the other day.
Well, there was another amendment that happened 2 days before the vote at the State House. Now, when was the vote on the State House? Jeb Bradley was going to be here on the 19th, and they were voting on it on the day before.
Well, I don't think there's anything taken out that the bill is going to stop local government from zoning short-term
Well,
housing.
this is the thing. I went over it with our local representatives, and they said that the Second Amendment that came out gave the towns a lot more power, and it was put in on purpose because there was such pushback. Before we write a letter and before we decide this with incomplete information, I think we need to have Jeb Bradley here to explain this bill to us and what we see about it and why he thinks that it's not a bad thing for Wolfeboro if he's our state senator.
Well, I think if we bring the state senator, we better bring our two representatives also.
Absolutely.
Because they are part of it. Dave?
I'm going to agree with Brian. I think I want more information from the legislature and from Jeb. I'd like to hear it. I know that our planning board has been working on this for some time. Are they proposing something this election frame, Brad?
No.
Okay.
Not to-
I think we've done a lot of talking about it, and we haven't done anything. We've kind of for years have had rentals, short-term rentals in terms of our tourist industry and on our lakes. But I think it's the Airbnbs that have come up, and really only where we get to the point in some of the associations when we get way too many people in the houses and those impact. And if we sign this and say we don't support it, and I can't believe that it's nothing to do with zoning on it, we don't have to do anything. Doesn't mean that we have to regulate them. It just keeps the ability for us to be able to regulate.
Correct.
And that's what this whole ordinance is all about. And they did add some stuff in terms of being able to regulate parking and noise and safety, but it's still, the main purpose of this bill was to restrict zoning. So I guess I'll make a motion that we sign the letter saying that we're opposed to SB 249. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have further discussion?
I believe that we should draft our own letter if we're going to do it, and I think we need to do it with complete information. And I think we need to talk to our state reps and our senator to know why some of them support it, some don't, and then to make a good informed decision. That's my opinion. I think this has been ongoing for 10 years. It's not going away for the next 25 million years. We have plenty of time to write our own letter that would address us, not Madison, potentially. We could have signed on to the New Hampshire Municipal Association. They just drafted a letter, and I brought that information to our town manager and to people on the board, not everyone, to show them that the New Hampshire Municipal Association was going to do that, and we didn't have time to get onto that. So I've done some research to figure out what's happening with this bill. I've talked to representatives, and I just think we need to have complete information.
This is going to, if this is enacted, it'll take place July 1, 2022. So that's not that far away. I want us to make a statement. I don't care if we sign on to this. I thought this was the latest bill that I got. We tried to get the representatives and Senator Bradley at our last meeting, and they were unable to come. This was on the agenda to do that. This came in on Monday to me, and I brought it here for the opportunity to do it. I will amend my motion to say that we will draft our own letter and make sure we have the latest copy of the bill before doing that. Does that help?
Second that amendment.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? You opposed?
I'll abstain
Okay.
at this point. I just don't think we have all the information.
I will get the latest one.
That vote was for the amendment, right? Now we still need to vote on the motion itself?
What?
That motion.
Okay, all right, that was amendment, okay, that was the amendment, we don't have anybody taking minutes.
We have a vote coming up now, next for the.
Yes,
motion,
I'm
right?
going to, first one was to own letter and current edition of the Senate Bill 249, and that was 4-1, and it's Linda and Brad. And the next one is to send a letter.
Right.
And this is to send a letter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it's 4-1. What I will do, we're going to meet, no, we aren't meeting next week. I will draft a letter and we'll deal with it on the 9th. Does that make sense to everybody? We're going to need to speak on it again, okay?
Do we know when the House is going to have their vote on this yet?
No, but I can find out.
Okay.
Okay, would you get me some more of that information?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. The other one we may want to talk to people about is the 1570, which is going to cut money, will cut from the mileage, $50,000 to $60,000. And Pat Waterman, I think, sent that out to all of us on.
I saw that one.
So I will, if not, I came to me as a, from John McDonnell as a text message, and I'll try to get that out to everybody also. Okay? All righty. Any other discussions while we're in public? Hearing none, can I have a motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
Second? Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.